With our next video here, video tutorial. We've done D, now we're moving on to E. Healing brush, patch tool, and content aware. These are a lot of fun. This is our Photoshop magic here. Let's move on first with number 1. They're in order. Healing brush. This is quite a simple tutorial. So the healing brush, you're going to find that in our tool palette. Let me see if I can remember exactly where it's at. It looks like a Band-Aid. Here it is. It's on the right. If yours is doubled up like mine, it's the 4th one down on the right. And the healing brush tool right here, it looks a bit like a Band-Aid, I think. Oh, so very easy. I'm going to use my brush keys to make that, if you can see it, the brush smaller or larger with those bracket keys on my keyboard. I'm just going to click, option click to define a source to be. Okay, so first I have the option click. I'm going to just use a spot healing brush. I think that will be a lot easier than the other one will have to have a certain source. So let me go ahead and use those bracket keys to make this just a little bit larger. And we're using the spot healing in this one. I'm just going along everywhere the lines are on the statue. And it's going to find the information around it. And it's going to just heal it based on the information around it. So see how it repeated that area right there? I need to make sure that I don't get too close into that hairline. And I'm just going to simply, I'm holding down and moving at the same time with this spot healing brush. And it's just reading the information around this and correcting it. Very simple. That is the spot healing brush. Now the healing brush tool, you have to, we have to option click to get a source area. So in this one you would hold down option and then it would sort of, copy the area that you've clicked and designated you'd like it to copy from that area. So if you have something very in particular, you would just like to carry it along. And sometimes it helps to zoom in on this. I'll hold down option. It gives me that target. I'm going to target this area right next to it. And then probably need a little smaller brush to do that. I'm going to get rid of this little imperfection here. And that's how you would use the healing brush. So you can specify, very much like the clone tool, whoops, what area you would like to use. Probably want to bring in a little bit of the lips right there. And right here I'm holding down option. Okay, let's move on to our next one. This one was so simple. So we use a spot healing, don't have to target an area, and then we use the healing. I'm not going to save this one. We don't need to. It's not due. And then content aware. So this particular one, there's 2 files. I'm going to open them both into Photoshop. There is the ducks. We're going to get our ducks in a row. And there's the thistle. And then there are directions here for content aware. How to get our ducks in a row. And it says to save this first as a working PSD file. We're going to use that content aware move tool. So let's start with the ducks. So I want to move one of these ducks, and this is once again some Photoshop magic here. I want to move one of these ducks. So I'm going to get the same area, same tool, but we're going to go down in that menu to the content aware tool. And I'm actually going to move this last ducky here. I'm going to just hold down and trace around this guy as close as I possibly, try to do it fairly close. Once I have that selected, you can see it's got this crisscross plus a cursor arrow. I'm just going to hold down and move my duck. I've got the wrong thing selected here. Let me get back. Wait, nope, it did it. So the main thing is to make sure in your menu up here, so I thought I had extend, you have to have move for it to move it, and not just copy it. Extend just copies and gives you another version. So see how it's matching up with the background area around this? And once I hit return, it's actually going to move that duck. So hit Command D to deselect. I've actually moved my duck. It even sort of finds the area around the feet and everything. Definitely some Photoshop magic there. So that was the Content Aware Move tool. Now let's try that Content Aware Move tool again with this thistle, but this time instead of Move in the menu bar at the top, we're going to click Extend. I'm going to once again trace sort of close. Let's say we want to put a thistle somewhere back in that field. And it's going to read the information around it. So I've selected this here. It's not going to just move it. It's going to allow me to extend it. So it copies it. And I'm going to hold down Shift. Or I guess you don't even have to hold down Shift. You can just grab a cursor on the corner. I'm going to resize it a little bit smaller. I want to make it look like, it's a smaller version. Let me see if I can flip this too. If it'll let me flip it. Nope. I can move it around. Say it's a smaller thistle. It's more in the background. I'm going to kind of put it down here while the shadow starts. I'm going to hit return right there. And now I have a second thistle. And it's done a really good job of reading around the area and copying it. It makes it look very natural in the scene. I'm going to hit Command D to deselect it. Let's take a look. I mean, it's done a really very good job. If I need to clean up any of these areas around it, I can. You might even try using that spot healing if you have a distinct, discoloration or something in areas. But it's looking really good. There's my thistle.